Trump's True Crimes, Episode 1. The Draft Dodger's Plea. In the Trump family origin story, most people start with real estate empires, glossy towers, or gold-plated penthouses. But the real story? It begins with a 16-year-old immigrant fleeing a country that expected him to fight, and a desperate letter that could have changed everything. Friedrich Trump, the grandfather of Donald J. Trump, arrived in New York in 1885 with just $32 in his pocket. He was 16 years old, bright, ambitious, and undocumented in spirit, if not in law. And most critically, he left Germany without completing his mandatory military service. In Bavaria, that was not just frowned upon, it was a crime. Over the next 2 decades, Friedrich would build an empire of saloons, brothels, and boomtown hotels from Seattle to the Yukon. He'd make, and lose, a small fortune. But back in Karlstadt, Germany, the local authorities hadn't forgotten, and they were waiting. I was a young man without means and education. That's why I emigrated. Now I am married. I beg your highness to let me stay. The letter was real. In 1905, Friedrich Trump, now a wealthy man, begged the Bavarian prince regent to allow him to stay in his homeland. He'd returned with his wife Elizabeth and hoped to settle back in Germany. But authorities had other plans. A royal decree was issued. Trump was to be deported. The crime? Evading the draft. The sentence? Banishment. Forever. The twist? Friedrich had lived abroad for nearly 20 years. He'd become rich, respected, influential. But the Germans saw through it. To them, he wasn't a success story. He was a traitor. Why did Friedrich flee in the first place? Why risk everything to avoid military service? And what legacy did this act of desertion leave on a family that would grow to dominate American politics? Here's the twist. Friedrich's deportation may have changed history. Because if Germany had let him stay, there may never have been a Donald Trump. No towers, no campaign, no presidency, just a saloon keeper in the Rhineland. But the Trump family wasn't done running. In the next episode, we follow Friedrich north, deep into the gold-crazed Klondike, where brothels, cash, and moral gray zones pave the way for a new kind of empire. And what he built there? Well, let's just say, it wasn't exactly family-friendly. Stay tuned. This is Trump's True Crimes.